Welcome to E Squared Emporium for all things AP Psychology. Today we're finishing our discussion on correlations and problems with correlations. And the cartoon says every single person who confuses correlation with causation ends up dying. That's a pretty serious problem with correlations. So correlation is not causation. What do we mean by that? You're going to hear that a lot. A correlation predicts the possibility that there could be a cause and effect relationship, but it cannot prove that there is a cause and effect relationship because only an experiment with an independent and dependent variable can do that. So again, here's our difference between a correlation and an experiment. So a correlation might be based on surveys or observation or descriptive research. There could be changes in factors, but we didn't cause the change. We didn't manipulate it. So again, correlation is not causation. Let's look at this picture here. Every time you see a picture with a cat, there seems to be a big hole underneath them. How heavy are these cats, right? Did the cat cause that hole in the roof? Did they cause that metal roof to bend? Did they cause a hole in the car? Did they cause a hole in the pavement? No, the cat didn't cause it. The cat just seems to like laying in it, but the cat didn't cause it. So that's what we mean by correlation is not causation. The cat didn't cause the hole. The hole was already there and the cat just happened to like laying in it. So correlations are meant to show a relationship between two variables, but it cannot say that one variable is 100% causing the other. You didn't manipulate them. You didn't set any of this up and you can't control that. You can't control where your cat's going to lay down. So only an experiment, again, can prove cause and effect with independent and dependent variable. So this leads us to an illusory correlation. See the word illusion, right? When you see illusory correlation, it's an illusion. It does not actually exist. We see a correlation or a relationship, but one doesn't actually exist there. Here's an example. The longer that a man is married, the more he is likely to be bald. Yes, that's actually a fact. Because if you're married for a really long time, that means you've gotten up there in age. And as a man gets up there in age, he is more likely to not have all of his hair. So it does look like it correlates. So you could say, wow, marriage causes men to lose their hair, or marriage causes premature male baldness. But in fact, that's not the case. It is old age that causes the baldness, and the length of marriage tends to have a correlation to the length of age. So here's another illusory correlation. If we take the number of films that Nicolas Cage has appeared in and the year he appeared in them, and we compare it to the number of people who drowned by falling into pools that very same year, there seems to be a correlation. But does Nicolas Cage cause people to drown in pools? Or does drowning in pools cause Nicolas Cage movies to be made? No, so that's an illusory correlation. Here's some more examples. The amount of cheese that is consumed within a given year seems to have a correlation to the number of people who die by becoming tangled in their bed sheets. Yes, 800 deaths of people tangled in their bed sheets. And another one, the divorce rate in Maine seems to have a correlation with the people who consume margarine in that same year. People who eat margarine, the fake butter, the plastic butter, there seems to be a correlation. So another illusory correlation. Did you know that when girls were named Ava, it caused the housing prices to rise? Because if we put the two on an XY graph, babies named Ava correlates to the housing going up. That's amazing. And did you know that in the UK, girls who are named Shannon has a correlation to American girls named Jessica? There is almost an exact correlation to those two names. So you see how we can't really learn anything from this data other than it's just something interesting to look at, but we can't say one caused the other. So illusory correlations can lead to stereotypes. They're what leads to superstitions. Do you have lucky socks that you have to wear for every basketball game or every soccer game? And you'll rip the house apart until you find your lucky socks. And if they're in the dryer, you have to wait till they're dry because you can't play with any other socks. That's an illusory correlation that every time I play with these socks, my team wins. Or maybe you have a lucky pencil or a lucky pen. Every time you use Mr. Pointy, you get a really good math score. So you look everywhere for Mr. Pointy because you know that it gives you the best math score. So think about that. Do you have a special pen or a special pencil that you write better essays with? Those are illusory correlations. Another problem with correlation, it is bidirectionality, or just in general, any directionality, but bidirectionality means it could go both ways. So A could cause B, but B could cause A. Which variable came first? It's kind of like the chicken and the egg, right? So looking at smoking and mental illness, which is a chart in your textbook, we see a correlation that people who tend to be depressed or have other mental illnesses also tend to be more likely to smoke. But which came first? There's a directionality problem. Did you smoke first and the chemicals from smoking led to the depression? Or were you depressed first and you picked up smoking as a way to cope, right? Which came first? So here's an example again with our TV and the GPA. Did you watch too much TV and then your GPA lowered? Or did you already have a low GPA and that caused you to be so discouraged you didn't want to do your homework, so you just went to watch TV? Do aggressive children watch more aggressive TV shows? So which came first? Is it that television became more aggressive, or is it that your child was already aggressive and that's why they chose the more aggressive TV shows? Was it just the way the child was already wired? Which came first? All we can do is gather the data and wonder. The third variable problem is really another confounding variable. It's another way that we could look at the relationship, and maybe it was caused by something completely different, right? What if Nicolas Cage and drownings in swimming pools really had a third variable and it really wasn't Nicolas Cage's fault? It could be. So what if your choice of the video game leading to aggression actually was being caused because the child was being bullied? The child goes to school and gets bullied and then goes home and chooses a violent video game as a way of getting out their aggression at being bullied at school. Well, that's a third variable. That is a variable that was not included in the correlation, but it's having a huge impact and it's probably actually the cause. Here's another third variable problem, and I see this one on the AP test almost every year, so it's good for us to take a look at this one. Ice cream sales lead to more snake bites. Does ice cream attract snakes? Do snakes not like ice cream? Do snakes like to bite people who have eaten ice cream? Does ice cream cause snakes to bite you? Um, what about the third variable? It's warm outside, right? Typically, we have higher ice cream sales when it's summer, and typically we have more snakes out when it's summer. Now, I've also seen this same exact problem with shark attacks. So we see, just insert shark attack where it says ice cream sales, right? So, where I just said snake, sorry. So we seem to see that there's a higher number of ice cream sales when there's a higher number of shark attacks. So does ice cream cause sharks to attack? Are the sharks like not a mint chocolate chip fan, right? Why are the sharks attacking you after you eat ice cream? Or is it just that we tend to be more in the water during the summer and we tend to be eating more ice cream during the summer? And that's the third variable. Okay, so that's the example of a third variable problem. All right, well, now you have all the details that you need. You're fully prepared for class. We will do the rest together. So that's it for now.